Hi everyone, this is DeFi Dad, and this is another Bankless tutorial. Today I'm going to walk you through the new DeFi Pulse index for TokenSets. So this is an index that allows you to gain exposure to the top 10 tokens that are DeFi related. It's based on circulating supply times the token price. And so it's just a weighted average. And so you can see here that the Wi-Fi token is the most heavily weighted versus the Augur token, which is closer to the bottom. So the origin of this set is based on a problem of how is someone supposed to gain exposure to DeFi without spending lots of gas and having to continually rebalance their portfolio. So you can see this Medium post, which I'll link in the show notes. TokenSets calls out the fact that there is no easy, cheap, and open way to acquire an open index of the top DeFi tokens on Ethereum. This leads to stress for users when they are trying to make portfolio allocation decisions, and it can be difficult for them to ascertain which DeFi projects are high quality and worthy of their investment. So they came up with a methodology here. It's very straightforward. It does have some, I think, rigor to it. I won't read through all of this, but you can check it out. It's pretty obvious stuff like they're not using options or futures. I think there's too much systemic risk in using those. They're not using any synthetic tokens at this time. And again, it all goes back to really just looking at those top DeFi related tokens, looking at circulating supply, and then multiplying that by the price to come up with a weighted average that differentiates how much you have allocated in this set. So you can see here that we have 25.81% Wi-Fi. We have 17.56% Lend, 13% SNX, and so on. So all these tokens are included. And the takeaway here is if one wants exposure to the upside on DeFi and they don't want to have to actively manage the portfolio, looking across all the different tokens and trying to pick the winners, this is the same thing, the same idea as holding an index of the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones. So today I'm going to walk you through how to buy this index. It is possible to do that with one of many different tokens, which is really convenient, but they're all the major stable coins plus Ether. And so we'll talk through that and then talk about some of the risks involved in holding this index. Before we get started with the DeFi Pulse Index, let's just talk about what SET is and how it actually works. So if you go to tokensets.com/explore, or just click on Explore Sets when you go to tokensets.com, there's a few different options here. Portfolios is new. This is clearly going to work towards strategies or sets that use a basket of tokens. So this is the first of the portfolio sets. Then next up, you have social trading sets. Social trading refers to what was popularized by eToro quite a while ago, what's referred to as copy trading. So social trading is where I'm holding a set and someone else is actively managing a strategy. I mean, it could be a strategy that is algorithmic. It could be someone who's using just TA, but regardless of how that's managed, all I'm trying to do is gain exposure to the same strategy. And so I end up, let's say, buying one of these different token sets, and that trader, whatever moves they're making, that will affect whether the value that I deposited goes up or down. If they're winning or gaining more, then my money's growing. And if they're ultimately, if their strategy isn't working, I'm going to be losing money. The other sets, the ones that really made token sets popular from the beginning are these robo sets. Robo sets are different. They have a hard-coded strategy that is being used more robotically, which is why they're called robo sets. So A good example of that is the ETH 12-day EMA crossover. This is a strategy that uses the 12-day exponential moving average. And the way it works is, as with almost all sets, we're basically moving back and forth between two different tokens. We're essentially buying and selling one of the two different tokens. And so if you look up above here, if you watch my cursor moving here, you'll see that there's a dotted line right here. So if we go from over here, down below, you can see that we currently would have 340 USDC, which is the major stablecoin USDC. And then what happens is Ether moved above the 12-day moving average or 12-day exponential moving average, and then it rebalances into Ether. So you can see down below how it switched from USDC to Ether. And then if you look up above, you can judge for yourself how this set has performed. A really easy way to do that is if you can look at it on a yearly time frame or maybe over the last month. All of this is dependent on the type of market we're in, whether we're in a bullish, bearish, or ranging type of market. And so you'll notice here that this set over the last month, the 12-day EMA crossover set, it's down 8.26%. But if I had simply held Ether, I would be down 13.68%. So this set has outperformed Ether by about 5%, even though we're still down. What's really powerful about sets is that all I have to do is buy that set, which is an ERC20 token, and now I'm letting the set protocol smart contracts do all the work. So it means I don't have to buy and sell and spend gas, and I don't have to sit there and watch the charts. If it's a strategy that I want to hold for however long, it just makes my life easier. That being said, there's no guaranteed results from these. And I would tell you that if you go to the TokenSets Explorer and check out these different categories, if you go here, you can look at how sets have performed against Bitcoin, Ether, and the US dollar. So those are three very different strategies. It depends on whether my goal is to gain more US dollars, or maybe I'm looking to accumulate more Ether, or maybe accumulate more Bitcoin. And remember, Bitcoin in this case is referring to tokenized Bitcoin, like wrapped Bitcoin. And so I can go here and look at these different time frames. I can arrange them, and I can start to get a sense of which sets have performed better. Keep in mind also that as you look at since inception, a lot of these sets have released over many, many different months. So this set here, I think, launched back in December, but there's other sets that are over a year old now. So since inception can be a little bit misleading. I like to really just look at the 3-month time frame to get a sense of how all these sets are performing against one another. Okay, so here's how I buy the DeFi Pulse index set. You want to go to tokensets.com, click on Explore Sets. You'll notice I've already connected my Ethereum wallet, but there should be a button up top here to connect your wallet up in the top right corner. And they connect all sorts of different Ethereum wallets, but I tend to always use MetaMask. Once you're on the Set Explorer page, there are multiple types of sets that we've already covered. Click on portfolios and you'll see the one and only choice, unless you're watching this in the future when there will probably be lots and lots of these portfolio sets. And then you want to click on the DeFi Pulse Index. Once you're on the DeFi Pulse Index set page, you'll notice some pretty pertinent information that you'll probably want to bookmark to track in the future to see how the set's performing. You can see the market cap, which is total amount of money that's been deposited into the set. The streaming fee is something to really make sure you're understanding. It's 0.95% streaming fee, which refers to this. The streaming fee is an annualized fee on the total market cap of the set that the set creator may accrue at any time. For example, a set is created with a 2% streaming fee. After 6 months, set creator may claim 1% of the total market cap of the set as fees. So it's basically however much I deposit. In this case, expect that 0.95% will come out as fees. Currently, there are 432 set holders. This will become more interesting as time moves forward just because this is so new. So the max drawdown isn't going to be as large over the last day. But obviously, with how volatile crypto markets are, this is an interesting number to look at just to see what's the maximum drawdown on any of the sets. As a reminder, if we look at the different tokens that are involved here, one of the things that I do is just review these and think about, do I want exposure to these? Because by holding this set or this DeFi Pulse index set, I have now exposure to the price movements of Wi-Fi, Lend, SNX, the comp token, the maker token, LRC for Loopring, the Ren token for Ren Protocol, KNC for Kyber Network, BAL for Balancer, and REP for Augur V2. Now, if we go back up to the top here, you can see some other interesting information like what is the current allocation of that token. I think this is really important because it's not like I have 100% exposure now to Wi-Fi by holding this set, but it is 25%. So, I'm happy with that. But if I don't want exposure to Wi-Fi, or I think the set's overweighted towards one of these tokens, like let's say Wi-Fi here, that would be a reason, I guess, for me not to buy the index. And then, of course, it actually shows me what is the token price for each of these individually and how much makes up each set. So each set, which is, again, it's an ERC20 token, is composed of 0.000798 Wi-Fi. And in this case, it's composed of 33 Lend and 3 SNX. So that's the end result of using this weighted average and the fact that I'm getting exposure to all 10 of these top quote unquote DeFi tokens. So if I'm ready to buy, I'm going to just click buy and I can choose whether to pay in Tether, USDC, DAI, or Ether. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and just pay with Ether, and I will go ahead and buy 0.1 ETH of this set. So I'm going to get about 0.3 of the DeFi Pulse index set. And so I can hit preview buy. This gives me a summary of all the details of what I'm buying. The few things that might confuse someone is just that network fee. If you're not familiar with that, that's referring to the typical transaction fees you pay to the Ethereum network. And so this is not affected by the size of the position that I'm buying or like how much of the set. It's basically just reflecting the network demand and how high gas prices are. So right now, gas prices are over 200 gwei today. So this is going to be higher, but it could be lower in the future if those gas prices are lower. The premium here, I like that they call this out. They say that the difference between the Uniswap market price and the net asset value of the set. So if I were to go buy all of these different tokens, which would cost a lot of gas, a lot of time, I think the gas alone would probably make this whole endeavor kind of useless. The fact that I'm using this set allows me to gain exposure quickly and efficiently, but I am paying a 3.45% premium over what the Uniswap market prices are. Before I submit the buy, one thing to point out is I am saving a little bit on gas by using Ether. So if I use DAI, USDC, or Tether, I'm going to have to go through an approval transaction first. So that's an extra transaction to set a spending limit. But with Ether, I can just toss Ether in and it's a single transaction. So I do save a little bit of money on fees while gas prices are really high. So if we're ready to buy, just submit buy, and then we'll see a MetaMask transaction show up. So you can see I'm doing a swap of 0.1 Ether for this index. The gas fee is currently about $14. So I've already checked the ETH gas station and it's showing me at ethgasstation.info that if I put through 230 gwei, it'll definitely go through in about 5 minutes. So this looks good. I'll leave it at this price and then hit confirm. One thing I really like about the TokenSets user experience is the fact that they give you these indications of when your transaction is processing, and then you can just click here to actually see the transaction on Etherscan. All right, I'm back and my transaction confirmed. So now I own zero point 0.1 of the DeFi Pulse index. And really, the only other thing I would recommend is go to my account if you ever want to take a look at all the different sets that you own, including the DPI. What I'll continue to do is monitor the performance of this over time. So one of the things I really like on these set listing pages, I would actually bookmark this one just for the DeFi Pulse Index. You can take a look over a day, a week, a month, and a year. And by the way, the 1 year time frame is just whatever inception is, as far back as that is. If it's a year, it'll go back 1 year, but otherwise, if it's, let's say, 6 months, it'll just show you the 6 month time frame. And then you can see it'll show you these dotted lines. They're vertical dotted lines to indicate when there has been a rebalance. So if one of the tokens here gets overweighted, let's say that the Wi-Fi token continues to grow in market cap, and it should be more heavily weighted than it is, then this set will be rebalanced and the weights will be adjusted. I think the key takeaway here with the DeFi Pulse Index is that I am saving time. I would have to individually buy all these different tokens. I'm saving money. I'd have to spend gas to buy each of these tokens, which would take lots and lots of gas. And with gas prices over 250 Gwei today, doing 10 of these different transactions or swaps on something like Uniswap is going to definitely add up. And I think lastly, this empowers me to do something I previously couldn't do, which is gain exposure to a basket of DeFi related tokens. All right, so let's briefly talk about the different risks involved in using the DeFi Pulse Index. First off, there's smart contract risk. So normally I would go to nexusmutual.io and I would buy smart contract cover, which protects me from a smart contract bug. But currently, there's been a surge of interest in buying smart contract cover. So there is no cover right now for set protocol, but there should be more there in the future with more people staking NXM. Second risk I consider is admin risk. I do believe the set protocol team still has some centralized controls. It's something just to be aware of, but given the reputation of them having built this since 2017 and all the success that they've had, I'm not very concerned about this. Another risk is the fact that most of these sets use a stable coin. And here we go. In this case, we have an interest-bearing stable coin, USDC. So this is compound USDC. So there's risk that that stable coin could depeg. There's also systemic risk that I need to be thinking about. The fact that if Compound were to have some sort of a failure, that would then affect Compound USDC, and hence it would affect the set that I'm holding that has exposure to Compound USDC. All right, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you find this helpful. If you have any questions, you can ask us for help in the Bankless Discord. Also, feel free to comment on this YouTube video and we'll try to get back to you and answer your questions there.